What's up to the pack? It's Pack here, and this is 2022. It's a brand new year, and what I do every single start of the year, and I go to NBA 2K and I see who was the most improved player of every single team for the entire year of 2021. That's exactly what I'm going to do in today's video. Before the video starts, please be an LG, join the pack and subscribe and leave a like on the video. Helps the channel grow. One last thing is that I do not count rookies of this season because they didn't even start the year off in the NBA. And second, obviously they're going to grow because we didn't know what rating they were in the first place, right? So now I'm going to start this video off with the Philadelphia 76ers, as I always do, and it's obviously Tyrese Maxey, the second-year player for the Sixers. He was a 72 overall at the start of the year. Now he's an 80 overall, a +8 change for the player, which is massive. For the Milwaukee Bucks, it's actually Grayson Allen who gets a +6 for the entire year. It would have been even higher if a couple roster updates ago, but I mean, he goes from a bench player on the Grizzlies that barely played to a starter for a little bit for the Bucks. So yeah, Grayson Allen absolutely deserves this, for real. For the Chicago Bulls, it's Lonzo Ball who gets a +5. He went from a disrespected player on the Pelicans that people thought was like not going to be good as a number 2 pick in the NBA, and now he's on the Bulls as the third best player on the best team in the East. That's crazy. +5 for Lonzo. For the Cavaliers, we already had the most improved player of 2021, Darius Garland, who got a +11 from a 74 to an 85. That is a ridiculous change, but it makes sense because Darius Garland had a lot of questions last year because he was like, this dude's terrible at defense. He was actually the worst defensive player in the NBA and super inconsistent. And now he's the second best player on the Cavs team. That's one of the better teams in the East. Really impressive for him. +11, crazy. For the Boston Celtics, this one's going to be a surprise to a lot of people. Grant Williams +5. Yeah, this team didn't have a lot of players that went up in the first place. He was the only one that even kind of went up, so that's why he's on this list. For the Clippers, it's actually Terrence Mann who goes +6. There's very little players that went up in this team at all. Terrence Mann is the only kind of young talent, so that kind of makes sense that he went up because he gets a lot more playing time now that, you know, Kawhi Leonard's injured, right? So he started off the new year doing a lot better, and now he's one of the best players on the Clippers, which is impressive. +6 for Terrence. Now, for the Grizzlies, we also have another player that's tied for the most improved for the year, and that is Desmond Bane, the most jacked dude in the NBA. Gets +11. He was a 70, and now he's an 81. He didn't even have a player scan, and now he has a face scan, and the third best player on the Grizzlies. Is super impressive for him. And yeah, this team is crazy good. Desmond Bane absolutely deserves this because he can do everything. For the Atlanta Hawks, it's actually Cam Reddish +5. I mean, he was a question mark because some people thought when he came into the NBA that he was going to be the best of that Duke team. And now here he is as the third best, but he's been picking it up throughout the year. And at 21 years old, is looking to be like he's going to be a pretty good NBA player pretty soon. +5 for Cam Reddish. For the Miami Heat, it's definitely Gabe Vincent who goes +8. Bro, he was the worst player on the Heat last season to now being as good as Duncan Robinson. You would have never guessed at the beginning of the year. +8 for Gabe is super good. For the Hornets, another Ball brother, LaMelo Ball, +10 from a 77 to an 87. LaMelo Ball, I think we all knew was going to be pretty good, but to be this good this fast, that was a major surprise. It's pretty cool. Now, for the Utah Jazz, it's actually Mike Conley. Yeah, a 33-year-old was the most improved player on a team, and that was the Jazz. And that's because the Jazz are pretty consistent throughout the year, but Mike Conley was a +4. He had a pretty bad start with the Jazz, and so now he's playing a lot better with them, which is good. For the Kings, it is actually Tyrese Halliburton who gets +7. It was a sophomore. He's the only player on this team who's been getting better at all, so that makes kind of sense, you know. For the Knicks, RJ Barrett +7. Not Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. You know, he was a 75 overall. They didn't think he was going to be good, and now he's an 82 overall who has really big games sometimes, but he can still be pretty inconsistent. But +7 for RJ at 21 years old is pretty good. For the Lakers, all the way back here with Taylor Horton-Tucker, +5. Yeah, everybody else on this team was not getting upgrades. Actually, everyone else on this team was getting downgrades. He's the only one that went up. +5 for THT is crazy. For the Orlando Magic, Cole Anthony, obviously from a 72 to an 82, +10 for Cole. Yeah, I mean, this team is not very good. They needed someone to step up, and Cole Anthony's the only guy consistently getting 20 a game. So yeah, he's going to go up a lot. That's really cool for him. Okay, the least upgraded player on this list in today's video is going to be Jalen Brunson on the Mavericks +3. That was the only player that got a big upgrade at all for the entire year, which is kind of crazy and kind of tells you a lot about the Mavericks. But there is one other team that had a +3, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. All the way back here with Nicholas Claxton, who gets +3 as well. So yeah, just two teams, two players that just like, yeah, they got better, but like the team around them is either older or just more focused on other stuff, that their youth development isn't really there. For the Denver Nuggets, it's Nikola Jokic. I believe this is the only player that started off as the best player on the team and ended as the best player on their team and got upgraded. So +5 for Jokic from a 91 to a 96. He was the best player then, he's the best player now, and he's the only player like that on this list, which is cool. For the Indiana Pacers, this one was actually pretty hard to find. It was actually Miles Turner, who only got a +3. Another team that like was really good last season, and now they're kind of just bad, and Miles Turner was the only bright spot here. For the New Orleans Pelicans, Johnny Valanciunas. I swear, every time I make a roster update or roster video at all, I always end up saying his name because he's like Thanos of the roster videos. I swear, Johnny Valanciunas +5, a great pickup for the Pelicans. He's been an amazing player this season. I do think Brandon Ingram will end up being better, and obviously Zion Williamson is like the best player on this team, but Jonas Valanciunas has been very impressive. Yeah, obviously for the Pistons, Jeremy Grant started off as a 77, now is an 82, goes from a bench player to a borderline all-star with Jeremy Grant, which is, yeah, I mean, that's what the rating means. For the Raptors, OG Anunoby. You know, just a year ago, people were whispering about how he could probably be a great NBA player, and now he's a great NBA player after a year. So people called it. The Raptors fans called this one for sure. +4 for OG. He is almost the best player on this team, and maybe next year, it won't be almost anymore. I have a feeling. So for the Rockets, huge one, Kenyon Martin Jr. +9. +9. He was the worst player on the team last season. Now he is tied for, I think, 5th. So pretty crazy stuff for Kenyon Martin Jr. And hopefully he can be as good as his dad, right? For the Spurs, DeJounte Murray, obviously +6. The best player on the team by far now. Carries us all year. It sucks that we haven't had him in the past couple games because he's been in, well, he has COVID, I think. But he has been almost getting a triple-double every game. He has been carrying this team so hard, +6. For the Suns, it's Bridges +5. Kind of the same thing with Jeremy Grant, from a borderline bench player to a borderline all-star now with the Suns, who are one of the best teams in the NBA. He deserves this. With the Thunder, it's Lou Dort +4. I would have thought the Thunder would have had a lot more giant, massive upgrades, especially this team is usually not very good, and so they give young talent chances. But no, Lou Dort. That's it. So for the Timberwolves, this one surprised me. Jared Vanderbilt +9. I didn't know he was that low of a rating last year. He's good. He's really, really good. 79 overall at 22 years old. I'm telling you, man, this Timberwolves team's had a lot of young talent. They're going to be good real fast. For the Trailblazers, I wasn't surprised by this one at all. Anthony Simons +6. This is one of the quickest dudes in the NBA. This team is falling apart, and Simons is the only like bright spot here. So yeah, that makes sense. For the Warriors, you're not going to be surprised. Jordan Poole +7. Duh. He's been amazing all season and a big surprise, and it's been awesome. And finally, for the Wizards, it was tough to find this one. It was Daniel Gafford +4 because nobody else was succeeding. He started the year off with the Bulls, now ends it with the Wizards, and is pretty good. But just, you know, this team is all over the place. He's the only one that's been consistently going up. That's everyone for the 2021. What do you guys think about this? Leave it in the comments below. If you like the channel, please give it a sub. I'll see you guys next time.